Let's get into some more on some of those lesser candidates. We'll bring in our guest now, because Tom Switzer is a research associate at the United States Studies Centre at the University of Sydney and is the editor of The Spectator Australia. He joins us in the studio. Tom, welcome back to the drum. So let's go first through the losers. Backman obviously has dropped out. Rick Perry too, on his last legs. Where do you see the red light sweeping through the back?
I think that you're right. Rick Perry is also damaged goods. He'll probably be lucky to get 2% in New Hampshire on Wednesday our time, but he'll probably be a bit more competitive in South Carolina, maybe 10, 12, 13%. But yes, you're right. He's damaged goods, as indeed Michelle Buckman is. And intriguingly, both of them are the two darlings of the Tea Party.
Exactly. So what is the Tea Party the curse for candidates at this stage? And who do they get behind?
Yeah, very good point. I think that all our guests here are right to say that the Conservative alternative to Mitt Romney, and there have been several Conservative alternatives during the course of the last few months. I mean, you mentioned Michelle Buckman. There was at one time Donald Trump. There was also Herman Cain, the businessman, Newt Gingrich, the Speaker of the House. I actually went on record on the drum, and I thought that he would be the one most likely to appeal to Conservatives, and I was wrong because he couldn't stand this barrage of negative ads.
He's not out of the race, is he? I mean, there is still a swag of votes there because Ron Paul is still carrying along with his hugely energetic campaigners and picking up a large number of votes. When his bubble finally bursts, they don't go to Romney, surely, the man who...
Well, that's a very good point. See, Romney's playing this well because, although his vote is still pretty, relatively speaking, low, it's only about 25%, the fact is the Conservative candidates are eating each other up. So their vote is very much fractured and split, and this will be the case conceivably right through to Florida. If Romney can win New Hampshire convincingly, and I think he will, and if he also wins South Carolina, and all available polls show that he will, and if he wins Florida, which would be a real shock, then I think he'll be laughing him over.
But isn't the point with Mitt Romney is he's not actually doing the attacking of the other candidates. All of the other candidates are directly attacking him, whereas he's got these super PACs and other organisations tearing down the other candidates.
He's got so much money he doesn't have to care if anyone's being mean to him.
But I think it's, if you separate the two, it's a very effective strategy, and it's actually working because everything towards him just looks like petty, and of course they're going to attack him. He's the front runner.
Well, I think it's also a reminder that you need a good organisation and you need a lot of money to do well, and he's got both.
Can you have too much money? Annabelle's point that he's got a lot of money. Is that the thing that can drag him down, that he's too rich and too liberal?
Well, I think with Middle America in a general election, some of his gaffes throughout the debates, and a lot of people forget this, but he made a gaffe about 2 weeks ago to Rick Perry where he said, "Rick, I disagree with you, you're wrong, I'll bet you $10,000. Now, who has $10,000 bets?
I don't see why that was such a massive gaffe. I mean, what, people don't know Mitt Romney's incredibly wealthy?
Yeah, but just throwing away $10,000.
But the other gaffe,
like that.
and the one that Newt Gingrich was going him about, cut the baloney, was this completely ludicrous notion, I'm not really a politician. I'm not really a politician. And, give me a bucket, somebody. And Gingrich was absolutely right to call him
in a US primary.
I think David's onto something there, because as Newt Gingrich points out, Mitt Romney did run against Teddy Kennedy in 1994, and the reason why he never became a politician is because he got beaten by him.
He's been running for nearly 2 decades. Let's assume that your prognosis is right, that by the time Florida comes around, it's almost all over.
Conceivably, yeah.
So Mitt Romney then has to do that little dance to suddenly be fighting the Democrats on a range of issues for the Conservatives as well. Or will he be fighting two fronts? Will he be fighting Conservatives in his own party?
Very good point. All the available evidence indicates that Romney can win over the independents. And if you look at states, the battlefield states like Ohio, Florida, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Colorado, these are the states that Obama won in 2008. All the broad cross-section of independents don't want Obama. They're very upset with him, primarily over the economy, and they would be more likely to be in bed with you, if you like, with Mitt Romney, and I think he's capable of doing that switch. All this pious baloney stuff, there is an element of truth to it. I mean, the power of his reverse gears and U-turns are up to best international standards. On a wide variety of subjects, he has come a complete U-turn and a reverse gear. It's quite remarkable.
But he's post-McCain, I mean, that's not, there's not much to be said for that.
The interesting thing is, Robert Menzies makes this point to his daughter in the recently released letters from Robert Menzies to his daughter Heather Henderson, that in 1968, the two main Republican candidates were Richard Nixon and George Romney, Mitt Romney's father. And Menzies says his problem is that people think he's a flip-flopper. He doesn't stand for anything. He must run in the family.
At least they're consistent on that, Tom.
Is there a possibility of a curveball? I mean, Trump has said all along he'll run as an independent if he
I
doesn't.
think Donald Trump has damaged goods though after that whole Bertha stuff earlier
Could
this
Ron
year.
Paul
early last
potentially
year.
take his
Well,
votes
good
and run
point.
as an
Ron
independent?
Paul certainly has unorthodox positions on a wide variety of issues, most notably on foreign policy, where he almost sounds like Noam Chomsky on a lot of issues. He could appeal to some Liberals, certainly a good 5% of Republicans who'd vote for him. But look, it's only 5%. But if he does run, and it can't be ruled out, that would hurt the Republicans.
But the bigger issue is Mitt Romney going to energise the Republican base? And what Ron Paul can do is take away a good portion of the Republican base to vote for him. Can Mitt Romney do the same thing? Because I can't see any evidence that he can. That's his greatest weakness.
Well, I think Romney's greatest hope is that the Republican base will just come out because they're so upset with Obama's big spending policies. That's his only hope. He won't win them over because of
but
his
he's not
own appeal.
exactly a non-big spender himself. I mean, he's quite happy to...
He did some disgraceful things in Massachusetts. He started a health scheme in Massachusetts. This should absolutely disqualify him for high office in the United States of America.
That is survivable within the Republican Party, possibly by about Thursday night, I think. But next on the drum, are Australian shoppers being selfish by chasing cheap deals online? We'll talk to businessman Dick Smith.